Alright, let's come to the angle solver part. For this we want to solve the d12, and I want to demonstrate that it has become, in my opinion at least, a lot easier to solve those types of jumps if you have already an input sequence given, and for that I've prepared the input sequence. So let's get started. How would one approach this with the angle solver in this tool? So first of all, I would suggest to check what important blockages need to be passed, and there we have, for example, this blockage front of the head. We need to get onto this block, so this could be a constraint. We need to pass at this side. This needs to be a constraint, and I think the rest is quite lenient. So let's open the angle solver, which is right here, that expands the entire pane quite a bit. And we have the angle solver here. So first of all, we need to select a start tick. So we want to solve from the jump tick, which is tick 33. So we set the start tick to 33. And then we need to figure out where we land, and this is going to be the land tick because it's still above the block, tick 44, and we enter tick 44. And we want to optimize in the x-axis, and in this case we want to have x get smaller to be able to land on the block, so we choose x and go minimize. 45 is going to be forced, rest is irrelevant. Effort is fast. This is probably the best effort anyway. But yeah, let's start. So first of all, I think we want to tell the solver that he has to land here. And we do that by going in here, adding a new constraint, saying we want to have x smaller than, and now block hitbox of 1599.7. like this. Now we have a constraint here. And what happens if I solve? Well, it optimizes. It says it found an optimal solution, but of course it did not respect that we wanted to go around the head, so we need to tell it that as well. And now it has already applied the solution. So let's remove that, put it back here, and I already know that the third tick here needs to be in front of it, but of course you could try this one first, but since I already know that, we'll start here immediately. This is where it gets a little bit of trial and error, but you will get there eventually. So we need to have x be greater than 15992, x greater equal minus 15992, and this holds true up until, I believe, it should be here, because here we are starting to pass this side of the head. Since this is x facing, we need to pass it before we can enter. So let's duplicate this constraint all the way down here, and let's see what it does now. Let's solve. All right. We see it collides here. Which tick is the first colliding tick? It is this one. We said this one was already in front of this side, so it is probably possible to keep this in front of the side. So let's enforce it. So the solver tries to go into this direction first and then optimize in that direction. So let's add a z constraint here. Oops. Go on this side, and we want to get z smaller. So smaller equals, oh, I can't see that, 4928.95. Let's collapse it and see what it does. And with this, we have already solved the jump. This is not many constraints, and of course you need to try and error around a bit, thinking a little critically about where the hitboxes are, where ticks might be able to pass, and you can figure out even a d12, the optimal angle, quite easily, I would say. You can also see here by how far we landed it, by 0.0001066, and the binding constraints are very visibly on tick 39. Those are probably the most important constraints here, because they are barely passed, and the rest have quite some slack to them. Now you can of course replay it, and let's do that just because it's satisfying. And this is the angles we have just found.